Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's early on a Sunday morning. A friend of mine is coming to start taping all these walls. So I want to start by getting this table ready for him so he could tape, getting this out of here, and also getting this cabinet out the way. I want the least amount of things in here so it won't get as dusty when he sands, and also just to give him the liberty to finish this whole entire area. Also, what I'm going to be doing in this video, I'm going to finish demoing the rest of this door and try to get either me or my friend to help me install the metal door frame, because you know, wood and water doesn't mix, and is also better for safety. So that's why I'm going to be installing a metal door frame, but we could get into that a lot later. Right now what's important is to get this room empty and ready for my friend to do what he has to do. So I got the cabinet off, and while I was waiting for the taper to show up, I decided to mark off where the access door for the valves are gonna go. So the smaller square is where the access door is gonna go through, but I don't know how I'm gonna be screwing it in so it won't fall into the cabinet. So I made it 3/4 bigger on each side so I could put like an L-shaped piece of plywood to go right on top and land on top, so that I could screw into the plywood to hold the access door in its place. I also marked up on top of the box of where it's gonna go. This line over here is 3/4 inch, which is where the bracket holds up the cabinet. So I wanna make sure that the back of the inside of the cabinet doesn't come in conflict with the flange that comes out, and everything works and it's clear and it's good. So later on in the day, when it's not 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to cut that out. Then when the taper is done, I'm gonna put everything back and cut the sheetrock above, so that when the painter comes, I could build the piece of plywood that is gonna hold up that sheetrock. So now all we gotta do is wait for the taper, and hopefully he shows up. While the taper is down in the basement taping, I decided to come outside and start cutting up this cabinet. Since it's a little bit later in the day, it's like 10 o'clock, so people should be awake and they should be okay with me making grinder sounds. So let's start cutting this hole to get this access door in. Good enough with a little bit of play. This will work. Gotten a bit crazy here, down here in the cellar, in the basement. and I had to cut the time lapse that you guys were seeing. I had to cut it for the other side of the room because it did get a little hectic and crazy, as you can see. So check it out. It is taped in. That's the first coat. Over here it's taped. You guys see that it's a little wet. Well, still wet, not a little wet. Same thing with that wall down here. But this wall is officially closed. I haven't seen this wall without patches for maybe 7 years. This is the first wall I cut to move this outlet many years ago. So to see this closed and this working is perfect. I decided not to put the cabinet up because he is going to be coming tomorrow to sand and polish. So since we need the internet, that's my setup for now. So tomorrow he's gonna be here. He's gonna finish up the job. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to record because it is gonna get very dusty because they're gonna sand this whole entire basement. So we're going to be keeping that fan running for the remainder of the night, just to make sure this stuff cures the right way. So see you guys on the next scene. Here, this is the same exact day, just at night. I decided to just demo the door and get the door ready because I'm gonna have to do the door frame by myself. It will be my first time doing the door frame, so you're gonna see the mistakes that I made and how I made it work. So all the videos that I watched on YouTube told me to always start with the hinge side. So I installed the hinge side. I get the header installed, but I start finding it difficult to install the strike side. And what I was confronting is that when I try to push it up, it was scraping the wall on the outside of the room. So I decided to just take everything apart and take off that little piece of sheetrock, which you guys are seeing there. And it's gonna give me the ability to swing in the strike side without having to scrape the sheetrock on the outside. Here I'm just setting the laser to make sure the header is level. And as you can see, all of this is going on as the taper is sanding, getting ready for the polish coat, which we're going to be cutting to soon. So the painter is done, but first, before I show you what the taper has done, I want to apologize because I wasn't able to record as much as I wanted to record. The taper being there, the heat, running the fan, not being in the middle of the way. I saw that while I had the camera set up in one spot, he was walking around the camera and it was in the way. So I captured the most I can, but the truth is not as much as I wanted to capture, but I captured the most I could. So I hope that will be enough for you guys. Also, just having the camera in place while he's sanding, I really didn't want to get that dust on the camera and damage it. So I did get some of that, but it's not what I wanted. Like I said, I wanted to do more, but it is what it is. This is where we at, and let me show you how this room looks now that it's taped and ready for the painter. Just to show you guys what I'm going through, I took out the cabinet, which is on wheels. Here's the
Here's all my stuff. This is the Wi-Fi. I connected it so that the battery won't die. There's a backup battery in there. I also installed the door frame, and I had to cut a hole here to get the door frame to go in an angle and then up. But the taper was able to tape that for me. Same thing with this side. He taped that area for me. So this door frame is in. Sorry that I wasn't able to get better angles of this and get it filmed right, but it's just, I mean, look what I'm dealing with. And then here we go into the room. This is officially taped and done, ready for the painter. All of this is ready for the painter. If you guys can only feel the humidity in here. But check it out. Everything is patched and closed. I made sure I save that line, because if I lose that line and I mount that cabinet, it might not line up with those outlets. So I made sure I put the wires in some plastic so it won't get damaged. And yeah, this is it. Look at all this dust. Look at all the dust. Look at this dust. It's everywhere. So I gotta pass the vacuum around. I will have to change the plastic, throw out these buckets, but I'm gonna do all that cleaning stuff off camera. But to see this here patched, this is one of the first demos I did in this basement. So it's been like this for maybe about 7 years. And to see that patched and closed is awesome. I do have to install the access doors, but that's gonna be done when the painter's done. But it feels good. The room feels like it has volume to it. Feels like it's bigger. Like I feel shorter and smaller. So that's gonna be it for this video. On the next video, I am going to be working on this cabinet here, making that hole for the valves. So I want to install the cabinet, make the hole, and then yada, yada, yada. If you want to see that, stay tuned for the next video that's coming up. Happy that the taper was able to come out and do this work, because this is Labor Day weekend. I know this is coming out later on, maybe in the end of September or the beginning of October. I'm trying to get these videos stacked on each other so I could keep these videos going and pumping out. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you learned something new, you can show me by giving me a like. Any comments or questions, write it in the comments down below. If you want to see this basement done and livable, consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thanks.